Lord have mercy. Our Queen Lupa just dropped, and I fear we all have one thing on our minds when it comes to her. How to build her, of course. Right? Right? Hello. Welcome back. My name is Mikuno. In this video, I wanted to do a quick overview of Lupa with the basics of her kit, her build, team comps, and what I personally think her value is in your account. First of all, Lupa buffs fusion damage amplification by 20% and basic attack damage amplified by 25% for 14 seconds, making it clear that she is designed for Brant in specific, but she can also be used for Encore, as Encore also does basic attack damage. Her passive talent up here, this one just gives basic like damage buffs and like more to her kit. But this one's the most important one because this one gives Res Shred, and the Res Shred amplifies itself based on the team comp with a base Res Shred of 3% fusion res, but one other fusion character brings this up to 6%, and then a full team of fusion characters brings it all the way up to 15%, which is crazy. And moving on to her liberation. Her liberation is extremely similar to how Shorekeeper's works. When she goes into liberation and also uses her enhanced skill, which she gets once she uses her liberation, all Resonators gain Pack Hunt. This Pack Hunt does a lot of things, such as giving an auto dodge. If you're hit, it'll just auto dodge, allowing us to be lazy as shit. We love that. It gives a stacking attack buff, similar to how Shorekeepers, if you intro while you have Pack Hunt, it will amplify the Pack Hunt up to 3 times, and each time it'll give you 6% attack. So 6% Lupa outros, you get 12%, and then whoever's next outros, and then the final one in that chain also gets 6%, so up to 18%. And finally, Resonators with Pack Hunt get a 6% attack increase and a 10% fusion damage bonus, specifically when they are fighting Overlord class or Calamity class targets, which is just boss enemies. And this 10% fusion damage also rises up to 20% in a full fusion comp. And also, like Shorekeeper, at the end of this Pack Hunt rotation thing, if you get the last Resonator's outro off into Lupa before Pack Hunt ends, she will get a big peepee damage intro, giving you this scaling, which is wild. This scaling is crazy. She does so much damage on that intro. And that's basically her gist. And now I'd like to show you just a simple rotation with her. Okay, so for her basic Forte rotation, you'll want to do 2 normal skill casts into your ult, use her enhanced skill, do your 2 mid-air attacks, and then keep spamming to do your 2 enhanced heavies, and then do your another hand skill. There you go. You should have full Concerto after that. And also just throw this echo skill in wherever you want to in that combo. It doesn't really matter, because you can just throw it out. and you don't have to transform into it. Now then, time to get into her build stuff. And to start off, her weapons. Her weapon. Oh. Sorry, there was a little audio bug there. Anyways, as for weapons, her signature is obviously her best one. She gets a crap ton of crit damage from it, attack percent, liberation damage bonus, and a team-wide fusion buff. It's just insane. But besides that, Genshi's weapon, Aegis of Harvest, the one I have personally, isn't that much worse. It's like 10% worse. It's basically just a stat stick for crit rate and gives some attribute damage bonus. She doesn't really use resonance skill damage bonus all that much, but it really does help as a stat stick. And also as a stat stick, besides that, we have Jinyan Sig, and also Lustrous Razor, which is the standard 5-star. And if you don't have any of those, the Battle Pass Broadblade is the best one out of the 4-stars because it has crit rate. But besides that, any of the attack percent swords, such as the craftable one, are serviceable. But you really should put on Lustrous Razor or anything else if you get them. And as for her level priority, I would focus on Liberation first. Then the intro and the Forte arguably are of equal value, with the intro being a little bit more valuable because of the big damage. And then you should level up Resonance Skill and normal attacks. These are less important, but Lupa likes to use her entire kit, so when you can, level all of these to 10 like I have here. But if you're limited on resources, just focus on these 3 over here first. Now then, as for echo sets, her best one by far is Flaming Clawprint. It is meant for her. Basically, just fusion damage, casting Resonance Liberation, which she wants to do to activate her buffs, grants fusion damage bonus to all resonators, and it's specifically 15% damage bonus. And then the caster gains 20% Resonance Liberation damage bonus, which is what Lupa uses. And the main echo for that will be this one here, the Lioness of Glory, because 12% fusion damage bonus and 12% Resonance Liberation damage bonus. Other than this, I guess you could use Molten Rift in the meantime. But even if it gives her a lot of damage, you don't want to be using this. Just because Lioness of Glory is so good. So only use this as a transitory set when you first get her. And immediately swap to this as soon as you have good stuff. Besides that, since she's just buffs basic attacks, you could also use Moonlit Clouds on her as just a generalist set, because it increases attack of the next resonator upon outro skill. And if you're not using her in a fusion team, you'd want that, and not the fusion buffs. But this is more of a niche pick, and if you're running a fusion team, run Lioness of Glory and Flaming Clawprint. And as for the echo stats, you're going to want a 4-3-3-1-1 setup, with the 4 cost being crit damage, more on leaning on crit damage if you have a crit rate weapon like Genshi's. or a crit rate forecast. And as for the 3 costs, you'll want either attack percent, like I have here, or fusion damage. You always want 1 fusion damage, and you can either have a 2nd fusion damage or 1 attack percent. And as for the 1 costs, both of them should be attack percent. And as for some stat goals on these, in my personal opinion, and based on the research I've done, 120 to 130% energy regen, depending on how you play her, like quick swap and such, is the ideal. Obviously leaning more on 130 if you play her as a traditional just plug and chug support DPS. And as with the crit rate, I would suggest around 65%. I have 68. You obviously want to aim higher, but as a baseline, 65% is good. And as a baseline for crit damage, 240 to 260 is good. Obviously having more again is good, but yeah, just aim for those baseline values. Aim for as high of crit value as you can get. And after that, if you can snag some substats on attack percent, liberation percent, and even flat attack, those are also really good. Even though attack percent and I think even flat attack would be better for her. But obviously, any type of damage bonus aside from crit is really good. Now then, getting into the team comps. Her main team comp and her premium team comp obviously is the Lupa, Brant, Cheng-Li team. This is what she's meant for, as they are quick swapping gods. But even if you don't want to quick swap, you can just go Lupa into Brant, which she fully buffs him, and then Brant fully buffs Cheng-Li, and then Cheng-Li fully buffs Lupa. And you continue that cycle over and over again until the enemy is inevitably dead, which it will be, because this team is crazy. But if you're lacking, let's say, Cheng-Li, for example, you can use Chixia. You can bring your Chixia out, or you can just play main DPS Brant and use any of your sustained supports like Shorekeeper, Farina, right here, or even Baija. Try to avoid Baija, but if she's your only option, use her.
Show me the action.
But if you are lacking Brant, it's very similar to what I just said. You could run Chixia, you could run your standard sustain supports, or additionally, you can run Encore because Encore does basic attack damage. And Lupa will buff Encore. Encore won't buff Cheng-Li, but you can still use the team in that sort of way. And Encore, of course, is still a really good DPS. So if you want to use her, even as like a main damage dealer with Lupa, you can. Why not? And finally, if you run Lupa as just a normal basic attack damage dealer, you can use her with anyone that does basic attack damage, like Camellia here. And of course, you can just take her out of the mono fusion and use her with like just Encore or just Brant if you want to with a sustain. Or Lupa can just be thrown in any single mono fusion comp in the game, because she's great in mono fusion. That's what she's meant for. And it doesn't matter if she will fully buff all of the fusion characters there. She will still be great with all of her res shred and attack percent stuff. Now then, what's the value of Lupa? Why would you think of pulling her? Meta-wise, Lupa, in my opinion, is pretty niche. I would only recommend pulling her meta-wise for the big 3 fusion comp of Lupa, Changli, Brant. Or maybe to support Brant and Encore main DPS, because she is the first fusion damage plus basic attack damage buffer, so she'll be great for that as well. Or in the less like meta case, if you like playing Chixia and you don't have any res skills slash fusion damage buffers, you could pull her for Chixia. I don't really recommend that, but there's an idea for you. Slay. Do whatever you want. Or the last option is for future proofing, because Lupa works really well in mono fusion comps, so she may be really good for mono fusion comps in the future with other units that we don't know of or don't have yet. Obviously we don't know, but it's looking very bright with how many buffs she has just for fusion damage. And obviously outside of meta, if you love her, if you want to pull her, if you folded in the first 10 seconds of her being on screen like I did, God, that camera angle, then pull her. Pull her. By all means. Use her as a main DPS even if it's not optimal. Just do it. Slay. But as of right now, Lupa is limited in how many options she has, and we have no idea how she'll perform with future units. So pull at your own risk, and knowing all these caveats.
I slipped and left
Now then,
but my opponent...
how many times have I said that this video? God. Now then, as for a little peek into the basic idea of Lupa, in her best team with no quick-stop shenanigans, just basic, I wanted to showcase her in the current tower. Everyone in the team is built pretty well. I have Lupa obviously rocking Jinchi's signature.
No one
Keep in mind
victory's honor.
that the current tower does decrease fusion res and also has this weird arrow damage thing, but this should give a good idea of the power of Lupa in her most ideal scenario.
I shall have no
Mine currently has a 68.5 to 240 ratio with 120% energy regen, and I find myself, if I play her normally in a non-quick swappy way, I do not really get my liberation on time sometimes. But besides that, this is just a, this was a day one build. It will improve, but this is, let's just say this is her baseline. And going with that, I really hope you enjoyed my guide, and enjoy the showcase, I guess.
The fight is on! Die, evil! Into the spotlight!
In the limelight!
Nice teamwork!
More passion!
Together we vanquish. Mind's eye. My blade be reduced to cinders. Burn to dust! Is that all? Lion at the theatre! Bleed, Bill! Together we howl!
Epic shot! Let the flames rise!
the caged bird now.
Burn to dust! Face me, pal! The fight is on! With me!
At the helm! Climax of the show!
Mighty support!
Perfect finale! Nice try! Pew pew!
So yeah, Lupa is a character I instantly folded to, due to, certain reasons. But I also just absolutely adore her. She's very adorable. And she's a very good character in her niche, and she is very, very fun to play. I really like her playstyle. Good luck to all my Lupa enjoyers out there on your polls, and good luck to the horrendous Echo Grind. I also heard again, I don't know why I keep hearing this, but if you like, comment, and subscribe, Lupa will lay on your shoulder, and you will officially have peaked. You remember that scene with Rover? Yeah, that'll be you. That'll be you. Crazy. But in all seriousness, with all that jazz, if anyone has anything on their mind about Lupa or this guide, feel free to leave a comment. And also, on your way out, try not to get hit by a rogue Hatsune Miku that may be or may not be coming to your location at Mach 10 and is going to arrive at your door in approximately 2 years. Just keep looking out for that. Anyways, this is Mikino signing off. Bye bye!